Hi, welcome to BS Garage. On this one, I changed out the master cylinder to get the brakes to work a little bit better, and then we see if it does burnouts. It does. Let's go. Let's change out the master cylinder. So this thing has Wilwood 6 pistons up front. It has some generic Ford brakes, single piston in the rear, but this thing doesn't stop very well. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's a little sketch. I know my system's fully bled, but it just, pedal feel sucks. Pedal kind of gets stuck, not like stuck, but it just doesn't return all the way back, and my brake lights stay on, even though I have like a return spring in there. So I have some adjusting to do. I have some playing around to do, and I really want to make that right because obviously you need to stop. It's kind of a safety thing. So this guy's coming off here. This was just like a general leftover that I had from a different project that I honestly don't know the specs on. It's pretty generic GM style master cylinder, but I'm going to be replacing it with this. This is the Wilwood. I went with a 1-inch bore. Why? I don't know. I think I looked up information why, but this is just what I landed on, so this is what I'm going to throw in there and test out. Obviously, I got to bench bleed this thing and then put it on there and then bleed the whole system again just to get all the air and everything out of there. So that's what I'm going to work on. I'm going to bench bleed this thing, take off that one, throw this one on, and start bleeding everything. So first thing I did is I'm just basically going through and I'm test fitting everything and making sure everything is playing nice, double checking everything. I put some preload in the tension here against the brake booster so that this has good spring back in it. But I also have to make sure, according to the Wilwood instructions, that rod there travels 1.1 inches before it hits the carpet, and that's what I have it set up at. I mean, it's almost exact 1.1 inches before it bottoms out of the carpet. Obviously, with hydraulic pressure, this is going to be a lot less. It'll only probably go to there. That's kind of the idea. But if you had a circuit fail, like the rear brake setup, you'll be able to push it that much further in order to engage just the front brakes. It's kind of like a built-in safety feature. So you got to make sure you have all of that. Also made sure that rod was traveling, straight, not at any weird angle, as much as possible. And then next up, so you have to adjust the actual master cylinder bore to this guy here. So you can see there's a little adjuster there. So I have to make sure that that's touching without putting any pressure on it, because that will give it instant pedal feel. If it's too far in, you're gonna have travel before it actually engages. If it's too far out, it's gonna have too much pressure on it and it's gonna hold line pressure and you're gonna ride your brakes. So that's bad. So that's what I'm gonna work on now, is just adjusting this to meet up with that perfectly. So I have that adjuster kind of screwed out. So now if I put the master on there, you can see that it's hitting it, right? And I can't bolt it. If I was to bolt this to there, it would put pressure on this all the time, and that's bad. But what I can do now is, because I pulled that out, is I can just kind of set it there, figure out that distance, and basically subtract it with either spacers, or it's got a 2-screw adjuster. Can I pull this out, please? This is ridiculous. It's stuck. Hold on. There we go. Subtract that from the distance that it's out and basically screw it in that much further. Tighten it down. We're good to go. See, I using a small washers, I think, instead, and then just tightening it that way. That way it's just like permanent, and you don't have to worry about it ever. So because I put a little bit of preload on the pedal into the booster, because I want that pedal feel to be right there. That's my idea behind it. Might get some crap for this, but the adjusters is all the way in, but when I put the master cylinder on there, it won't fit flush without putting pressure on the bore. Don't want that. So I have some of these small shim spacers that came with the Wilwood brake kit for the brakes themselves. And I'm gonna run these right here, and that gives me the most accurate distance between the bore and that. Like, it's just touching, but it's not putting pressure on it. So I think that's gonna be perfect. It should all work out in the end. I've got the exact travel that it needs to be, got the exact pressure that it needs to be. So, I mean, in my opinion, this is totally fine and will work perfectly. I mean, this is what you get when you mix aftermarket parts. So I'm gonna put the master on, and then I'm just gonna go through the pedal travel just to make sure everything works and everything's good. And then I have to go ahead and bench bleed the thing. Bench bleeding is super simple. Comes with the fittings and the hoses and the clip. Make sure it's all the way down to the bottom and you're not sucking back up any air when you do it. And the goal is just to get as many of the bubbles out as you can by pressing in on the bore without tipping over anything. Let me see if I can do this with one hand. There we go. So the back one still is getting a little bit of bubbles. And it says even in the instructions that some bubbles are okay. When you get towards the end, you kind of know, but it's probably sucking air from these fittings because honestly, those are kind of chintzy. You just keep doing this motion until all the bubbles are out and you're satisfied, and then you can throw it on and hook up your lines. I forgot to film the rest of the installation. Not gonna lie, sorry, but fairly simple. I just, hooked up my lines. I went through, I bled the entire system. I have one of those automatic pressure bleeders, makes it super simple, super easy. It's got awesome pedal feel now. So now all we gotta do, I already did it, is go take it for a drive and make sure everything's okay. It's okay. Now we're gonna thing around, testing some stuff out. Obviously the brakes, because that's what we're here for. It feels so much better, so much better. A little bit more fine tuning is gonna be needed, but I mean, it stops better than it did for sure. So I'm really pleased with that. Got the brakes working good, but I know the question that everybody wants to know is, will it do a burnout? They want to see it in action. I know it. I read the comments. I see it on my Instagram all the time. So let's do it. And there we go. Wilwood master cylinder is in. Brakes are working so much better. She does pretty good burnouts. So I'm gonna film a lot more of that coming up because I plan on having a ton of fun with this car. If you guys made it this far in the video, as always, I really appreciate it. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.